Welcome back to another edition of Traits Triumph by way of What's the Play Productions. Of course, we have a different panel because it is now basketball season. So we have our NBA draft correspondents here with us. There are also some familiar faces, myself and Brian, who are Traits Triumph OGs. But our last year, basketball Traits Triumph, we may have to come up with a different name because I think the group chat just called Traits Triumph with an asterisk. And I think I named it that to play it off with Thunderbolts of last year. But that was before, we saw the movie and Thunderbolts was New Avengers. So maybe we need to come up with a name. But either way, Trace Triumph works for me because I love the trade, basketball, football, whatever it is. Our guest, well, not our guest, but the other correspondents here with us, I got to point this way. JB, my dog, say what's up to the people.
Hello. Glad to be a part of the team again. It's been a year, so I'm glad to talk about the draft and the upcoming prospects.
And then our resident NBA draft, especially foreign guru, Brandon B. Nance. Say hey to the people.
Thank you for the kind words. I'm just excited to talk about the draft.
So before we jump into it, just gonna let the people know what our plan is for today. Since this is our first episode, as our Trait Triumph viewers know, we like to start off every draft season, whether football or basketball, off with a mock draft. Just so you can hear some of the initial thoughts. Then over the coming weeks prior to the draft, we'll give our positional breakdowns, talk about different head-to-head matchups, maybe even do some more mock drafts. And then to culminate the draft season, for football, we do one big mock draft. But for basketball, we have something that we came up with ourselves a few years back that we feel like we really enjoy. So we'll end off with a rookie draft where we pick our own rookies, try to build the best team. I've won the last couple of years, I believe, because ball knowledge always wins out. So I plan on doing the same thing. And I think this year will probably be a lot more interesting because I feel like in years past, there's been a certain level of if you get the number 1 or the number 2 pick, you may have a bit of an advantage over the other person, especially with that Wemby year. But this year, I feel like if you get pick 6, you can still build out a pretty good roster with the rookie draft. So that is where we will be going with this journey. Hope you all are excited. And so for today, we're going to do our first mock draft. We're going to do it in teams. It'll be myself and JB against Brandon and Busy. And Brandon and Busy happen to have the first pick in the draft, selecting for the Washington Wizards. And before we get into it, just going to let you all know, this is a what we would do mock draft. So we're not trying to predict the pick or get in the heads of the general managers. We're trying to say if we were the GMs in our current role and with our current mindsets, what we would do, taking the politics out of it, taking positional value for some GMs versus how we view certain positions out of it. We're just going to pick who we feel is the best player for certain teams and see how that compares to our end-of-season mock because we'll probably do 2 more mocks between now and the draft. So, passing it to Brian and Brandon.
All right, let's get this started.
First, I do want to say before you take our pick, you may have won in the first year for the last few drafts, but I think as the years have gone on, stacked up, we can look back. I pick for the long game. I think even for this first pick, it'll be focused more on the future rather than just that first year.
All right,
unfortunately, that's not the game we play. So I go.
I'm about to say, when we look back at these drafts in like 5 years, maybe
Brandon have the best team. You all can worry about all the other stuff, but the analysis always remains the same. But just for that rookie draft, I know the game by now.
I had Dyson Daniels that 1 year too, and that first year was abysmal.
You also had a year where you drafted Hugo Besson.
That was the 5th pick. I mean, you got to go big or go home. Hugo Besson, he probably got better measurement than Tyler. See, look, I'm about to.
You talking about people? You talking about 2027 prospects? We're getting a little too far ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about the 2027 draft. So, Brandon, who y'all taking as the Washington Wizards, the hometown team for us?
Well, are we aligned on the pick, Brian? Do we need to discuss? Do we need to go to a breakout room?
I think I just want to see where your head is because I think I have an idea of who I would take, but
I'm gonna text you. I'm texting you right now.
All right.
Hey man, you can say it out loud. We ain't scared.
Well, I don't want us to say it at the same time, and
You can't take that pick.
They different picks.
Given that this is a what we would do draft, we are aligned.
All right, so yeah. So when we going Darren Peterson?
Mm.
I don't want to say the clear choice, but and my camera just disappeared. Oh, here we go. All right. I think it's just, yeah. You talk about player profile. He said he want to play the one. So if he plays the one, and a team lets him go through them growing pains, I don't know if the Wizards are going to let him do that. But again, this is who we will pick. The potential is
He'll
limitless.
also have the chance to learn from Trae Young early if they do believe he could be the lead guard. Plus, you drafted Trae Johnson last year, so he can be your off guard going forward.
So if you even want to get a little Spurs situation going right now, I think it's showing that it's a good way to build up a potential player to see, okay, you just gotta play in your role and star in your role. The opportunity will come eventually. These guards that move around, run so fast. The moment they bring Trae Young out and say you can't guard no more, he can go up. And I think the clearest indication for me, whether he was injured or not, was when they played BYU. It was just, and maybe he was just hyped up because of the potential matchup, but I think it was so surreal, like them first 4 or 5 minutes. And then he sat down and didn't play the rest of the game after, and it was up by 20. What else could you do at that point? So I think everything else is just fodder. So it's an easy one for me.
I do believe
good pick, y'all.
Thank you.
I do believe that consensus around this point, at least so far, things could change. Is that AJ is going to be the pick at one, and I think if they're saying if it's not AJ, they're probably going to look more at Cam Boozer than they would Darren Peterson. But Darren Peterson is also my number one player on my board. So, we were toying at the beginning with who had the first pick, because if we got it, I would have tried to talk JB into taking Darren Peterson, because I believe he likes to lean more AJ DeBonta.
Yes.
But I didn't want to put up that fight, so I really didn't want the number one pick. And I have these two rated very similarly, so I'm assuming JB is good with taking AJ here, with the Jazz pick.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm okay with that. Yes.
But I wanted to ask you all, because I really haven't seen as many reports, at least with the second pick, of what the Jazz are gonna do. Do we think there's a chance that Darren isn't penciled in to number 2? Is there a likelihood that Cam Boozer has the ability to also go 2? Because the more I look into things, the more I hear the Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer reports, the more I feel like Cam Boozer may have a fast track to being a second overall pick if Utah isn't as keen on Darren Peterson's, creatine issues that he experienced during the season. Darren Peterson just comes with a lot of question marks for some teams that they just may not entirely be comfortable with. So do we think there's a chance Cam Boozer goes 2?
Yeah, I think this probably goes back to what Brandon talked about off screen, about because right now you have Laurie, you have Jared, and then you have Walker Kessler, who you believe was coming back. So my fault, Brandon. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, you good. I put a mock in the chat a few weeks ago where I had DP at 4. So I think again, maybe the teams will get swept up in the semantics, but he went out at the combine and he was I think either the first or second best shooter at the combine. Just straight motion, making the shots, the actual quality of the shots. And I think even where all the other teams are kind of looking in these margins to see like, okay, what are they weighing? What do they look like? It seems everything has just been above board and it's been followed to a T. The shots are going in. He's moving fluid. He has the standing reach. He has the vertical. So I think, and teams may get swept up into that. His father is in the front office. So if he want him on the team, then who's stopping him? And they'll find a way to say that they wanted him before. And then I think it may even cascade down where they're still looking at Ja, and whatever Ja's going to go for, they don't know yet. And they're looking for trades where it's like, we'll just take the big man. We can keep Ja then and see what Caleb Wilson and them do with the wings. So I think it could cascade all the way down, but I still think at the end of the day, it won't matter. And hopefully the Wizards stand up and decide that today is the day. We're gonna take him one,
Yeah,
and they could win the ring year one. He come in there. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
really?
He fit like a glove. Them three guards the same way. It would look almost exactly the same. It's a different player profile of D Fox and of
Stephon Castle.
no, it's a different player profile of Trey Young and D Fox, but I think the two comparison of like a Trey Johnson, because even for them two, Trey Johnson, no, if AJ comes, I feel like he feels his spot is more solidified. Trey Johnson wanted to play the one as well. So I think you got two guards both come in that room and say, I want to play the one. How did the Wizards lose in this situation from this competition?
you know, I think they're in a position where it's very hard for them to lose, no matter which way they decide to go. Just because, like the same way DP fits most places, I feel like AJ fits the Wizards like a glove. He fills that 3 spot. I do think he's less of a need, just because I think Keyshawn George is very, very, very good at basketball. And I don't know if he'll reach his ceiling on the Wizards. He may be a second team guy who maybe takes a jump that maybe a lot of people weren't expecting. Especially if AJ is the pick, because he'll probably be relegated to either a bench role or not having as much action on offense. But for AJ to go in and slide into that 3 spot, you already have the Trays in the backcourt, which would likely be your long-term starting lineup if Trae Young is to stick around. But then you have the front court, as long as you can convince AD to stay around. And like you said, I'm not going to say they're going to go to the finals and win the championship. But this is a team that would have the ability to compete in an Eastern Conference that has been relatively weak over the last 2 seasons, aside from maybe the top couple teams. And then like we've seen lower seed teams make runs in the Eastern Conference. Like the Cavs were just in the conference finals is what, a 4 seed? The Pacers just went to the finals. What were they, a 5 seed? So like the ability to make a run is there. Of course, their youth will not play to their advantage, especially like you're seeing the Spurs in the conference finals, but they have a 7-5 demigod, so that's a little different these days.
I mean, look, hey man, some of them SAR March clips looking a little spooky.
SAR's not 7-5 though, so that's. But I think
But
SAR's gonna be very good though, so that's where I think SAR.
do you think they have more guard depth right now or wing depth as the Wizards?
Wing depth.
Yeah.
They're only true, because I don't like Bub, so they're only true lead guard who is play initiating and creating for anyone else, in my opinion, who could play in a playoff environment is Trae Young. Trey Johnson, I don't think he's that play initiator or that shot creator for others yet. I think he has the potential to be a great shot creator for himself. I don't think his role on this team should be to be a shot creator for any others.
Yeah, and I think because even the comparison of like in the future of a few years, are they given the contract not signed yet for Trae Young? So even kind of just going a little bit into the future, I feel like even from them picking from that spot, maybe to decide that they're gonna rock with Bilal, Will Riley, and Keyshawn George. Like that's a good 3 wings. They all have length. They're all tall. They have 3 distinctly different profiles. And that for 3-4 years while they're all still on their rookie deals. I mean, you can add AJ to the room, but I think then it becomes potentially redundant. Where if he does it all, you still got to shift them around.
Yeah, I think for the Wizards in that scenario, Bilal is probably the odd man out, just because he's taking a little bit of a while to develop that offensive, well, not even the offensive game, but to develop that reliable 3-point shot. And then if they're ready to not really compete, but be in a playoff environment, yes, his defense is great, but he's got to be able to hit 38%. And I'm a big Bilal Coulibaly fan. But again, he could also be another guy who's a second-team guy because he's not ready for what the Wizards could potentially be ready for in the next 2 to 3 seasons. But
yeah, even the draft, like, it's so early. Who even is going to be in a Wizards jersey come the start of the season, the way they just been talking about AD?
Right,
So.
and if AD isn't there, this timeline, in my opinion, is completely different. Because I don't think you're locking yourself into Trae Young. I don't think you should.
And I guess are they trying to convince AD that they're serious? And if that's the case, I feel like
I believe that's what they're trying to do. And if they can't convince him, I'd be interested to see if the move that they try to move him is that for a lateral move in which they're trying to get a similarly regarded player. But what even is Anthony Davis in today's NBA? Because he doesn't play. He's over the edge of 30.
He
So it's
do
like,
every time he put up a career game. You gotta give it a week.
right. So it's like you don't even know what he is as a player. No, what his equal is in the league. Like, if you were to try to trade him, what are you able to move him for? Like, is his value? You would say you would put him in a Giannis deal, but the Bucks aren't taking that.
I think
Is his
really they
equivalent
may.
Julius Randle? Is that the best you could get, or is there anything
I
better?
think.
Like, I think JB was saying Cat, but that's thrown out the window now. So I don't. What is the
Well, no, no,
AD
no, no,
equivalent?
no. I think the news for Mitchell Robinson may not throw this cat news out the window simply because cat could get. He maybe has once or twice played pretty bad, but if he could play in a space where he plays them out the series, I think it still is on the table. Because again, with every year now, the expectations are changing. So if you got like a scenario, the finals is not enough. They want to win. So if they feel like he was the stopping point and they can get something else, and they not known for they've been making good moves lately, but I mean, it's been a first. I mean, it's the first time they've been back in a few decades, so they may get happy feet. But I think more interesting, the Wizards may make a deal to appease AD and send out Star for Giannis. I mean, and then maybe look at that and say, we want to win right now and keep
70,
one.
70 combined games played in the front court, and
So,
AD actually has to play
but
70
again,
more.
these players, look, AD, I say this, he may have been injured all his career. When it was time to win that ring,
He
he
was
was on
there.
the court. He was playing. He was there every game running the five. And I think that's what he's been saying. He don't want to be the five really because he don't want to be down in that paint for 70 games. And then he got to do the same thing again. And the game slows down. So if he get that player, I think he's going to play. I think he's going to be good. It's just, look, you seen Embiid. He just over the time right when he overextended himself. So if they could just keep that room good, get them another center, get them a Hartenstein, Hartenstein, Giannis, AD, right in that paint. Whew.
The AD value is a little strange for me. And this one more thing on AD, at least what I would have liked to see, and then we can move on to the third pick. If the Pacers would have got their pick, I think something the Pacers may have been able to sell themselves on, because if it would have had to been top four, so let's say they get 3 or 4. 3 or 4 is trending to be one of those power forwards. 80 for Pascal, and maybe the Pacers throw in something else. Oh, you don't like that for who? You don't like that for who though? Because you have to look at what 80's value actually is.
Jesus Christ. I'd rather Pascal.
That's what I. Oh, if you're the Pacers.
Yeah, them Jalen said no for the Pacers.
Oh, my
Yeah.
bad. I thought you were saying.
I think for the Wizards, you just keep him because it's one of them things where his value can only go up. You could still send him at the deadline. If somebody gets frantic enough at the deadline, you can send him out at the deadline. But I think right now, it's at rock bottom. It's kind of where it was low key at rock bottom just because the flexibility for a Giannis deal for somebody to send him out. It was just like, am I really going to send him out for one player, one pick that may happen this year where a team wouldn't get AD, he suit up and then they win 10 more games. So I think it's just, you might as well just keep him and see how he plays. See what happens. If he forces his way out, then let him do it. But look at the team. That team, like you said, it could at least make it to the first round. And the Magic were up 3-1 on the first seed. So whatever can happen, I think they just need to get there.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Wizards should be in a position to potentially make the playoffs, and which means they would put themselves in position to potentially make a run. But with
I
the
wonder who 80 want.
third pick, who has the third? Oh, they do. Memphis
They do.
Grizzlies.
Brian, you can make this pick. I won't make any objections.
Ooh. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So I've been deliberating over this one.
Oh wow.
Because my board, I do have Cameron Booz over Caleb Wilson, but I think the biggest question is kind of as Brandon kind of said earlier. I think the biggest questions are going to be one, How do you view Ja going forward? And two, what do you feel like you need for this team specifically? Um, and for me, I know it's not 2013 anymore, but I feel like Caleb Wilson fits the team better than Cam Boozer, in my opinion, just from an attitude standpoint, just having a motor and things of that nature. I understand they have a lot of young dudes that I guess you could say probably fill that role already, in like a GG Jackson and guys like that, but I just think I just believe in Caleb Wilson's upside, and I feel like if he's able to build on his mid range game, I guess I would say, and be able to stretch the floor a bit, I think his upside is better than Boozer's, in my opinion. So I would take Caleb Wilson here, but I don't know what you guys feel about that.
Hey, man, it's your pick. I'm not upset at it.
I'll affirm you, Brian. I agree. I agree with you, Brian. I think honestly, even on the Cam Boozer side, I really like Cam Boozer actually as a prospect, but I think none of these franchises, maybe outside of the Jazz, deserve to have him on the team. Um, I think it may look, I wouldn't say bad early, but a little just more utility player early, depending on if he does go to a team where he has to do a lot of the work. Where if they do begin to deal Ja for some assets, it's his team right there. And I think that it may look a little more shaky there. Where versus if a Jazz take him too, I think he'll have a lot better career where you already have movement shooters, people around you that are making shots, and they need the hub. Where I think even that may help Keontae George, his percentage go up. Laurie get more open looks where he can sit on that block. But if he go to Memphis, I just don't. I don't see them same opportunities. Everybody say, "Oh, I want to see him and Zach Edey out there." Against who? Who are they playing in the NBA that's where that is a formidable duo to just say it's gonna, I don't know. Zach Edey moves very slow on the court. And I think if Zach Edey moves very slow on the court, they're just gonna hunt those switches, do 4 out, 5 out, and have them all come out onto the floor. Not even just because if somebody gets past another one of their guards one-on-one, who's gonna run back to the paint to get a block? So I think it's just if Memphis couldn't handle Ja Morant in the way that they needed to, I don't know if they're going to be able to develop and kind of build out a team from this perspective. But maybe they got a whole new house in there where they're building it up. But I think, honestly, like Christian said a little earlier, I think it's going to go where Cam Boozer is probably going to go to. The more I think about it, it just, why wouldn't they?
Well, the fourth pick, we're faced with a decision, JB. And I think I'm going to put it in your hands. But I would like to say I do like the guards. And I believe, what is this? We're using Fanspo. Those two guards are probably my top two guards outside of Peterson in the class. But the thing I will say is that if Boozer does fall to 4, and kind of what Brandon was saying in terms of how he would have to be used in Memphis, I feel like there's a lot less in Chicago, especially in the front court. Like you have Modest, but he can play on the wing, so he's not necessarily that hogging any room in the front court. Now, this could also work to their detriment because they don't have a legitimate center who can protect the rim right now. But you can build out the roster a little bit better around Boozer versus with Memphis, where they feel like Edey is their center of the future. You got Coward on the wing. Who knows what they're going to do with Ja? They move him. You'd assume that they just figure out the point guard spot or just let one of them little guards run it for the time being. You got Jalen Wells also on the wing. So it's a lot less that you can do around him at that point in time to build the team around him. I feel like Chicago, outside of Buzelis and Giddey, there's not much there that they're necessarily locked into. And so I feel like they'd be able to surround Boozer with the defensive pieces and the offensive pieces where he can almost act like the hub on that team because he is probably the best pound-for-pound passer because, of course, maybe some guards have more assists. But Boozer as a passer, that is his best trait in my opinion. And so if he is your hub on offense and he's creating all these different looks for everyone else, while also still being able to hit some catch and shoot threes, and get downhill when he can, hunt some switches because he does not have lead feet. So he can move once he has the ball in his hands. Now, creating his own jump shot is not necessarily his game, but if he's left open, he can hit the jump shot and he can get downhill pretty easily. And the passing is what will open everything up. So I think the Bulls have the infrastructure, or the lack thereof of infrastructure, in which they can build whatever they want to do around Boozer. But I'm going to let JB make the final call here.
All right, yeah. I mean, we said a lot about Cam Boozer. Back in 1999, the Bulls picked Elton Brand, the best player coming out of Duke in college. Power forward, pretty much plays one position mainly. I think Boozer's a great pick. We got the youngest player within the top 4, top 5. Best player in college, arguably the best player in high school at the time as well. Well, no, top 3. Let's say top 3. The fit's there. We got skilled bigs, like you said, Giddey, 6'8", Mata 6'9", and you got another 6'9" forward and Boozer. I think it's a great fit. You can even look at it, possibly getting AD to be the center in Chicago. That spot's open.
I hope.
Hey, somebody got to be down there. But
hometown kid.
Hometown, come on now. But I'm taking Boozer in this spot. If it was Caleb Wilson, I would think about Darius. Just because I don't trust the front office to develop Caleb Wilson the right way. I think Boozer has enough intangibles and skill to kind of a good floor already. Not to mention his dad played there as well, just like with the Jazz. So there's some lineage also. But yeah, I say we go Boozer.
All right,
I think Boozer great at 4. I like Boozer at 4.
Yeah, you got a potential number 1 pick. That's pretty good.
I think they drafting. Yeah, they would just be happy whatever they get at 4 because I think they're really drafting for 15. Because you can draft for 15 if they get Caleb Wilson, then they can look for a guard or a wing later in the draft. If you get a Cam Boozer because of the different profile, you can look for a different type of big acquaintances there where they had. Because I don't know, did he drop out?
No, he's still there. He's in the draft.
Yeah, so if he there around 14, 15, now you get a moving big. And you have him there where that kind of just shores up. It doesn't shore up because they at square one. So I think to be so new in this, maybe fans have expectations to win more games, but there's nothing. That team is good, especially after giving away Aya. What you going? They expecting Rob Dillingham to. So I think they could figure it out, and they're drafting really for 15. But now we got 5.
I'm gonna let you drive the wheel.
You want me to do for 5? For the Clippers, but who I would take? I'm gonna go Mikael Brown at 5. I don't think it's the best fit for the Clippers, but I think this is the best prospect right there. Just the shot is fluid. It's already, the movement is there. It's just the injuries. It's his back. So if he could, and again, he go talk to MPJ. You go back to that draft now, he probably in a redraft top 5. Especially after last year, where you putting down, you don't.
2018.
How many people was putting up? I could look. We could save this for later. But
yeah, 2018 got all them guards. Luka, Trey, Shea. Well,
Shea was in that draft.
What's the wings in that class, or the bigs? Ayton and Bradley went 1 and 2. Who's that? Honestly,
I think he's in the conversation. He's in the conversation with Jaren Jackson.
Oh, Jaren Jackson's probably above him. Yeah,
he's in the Jaren Jackson conversation. I feel like now of value.
I got Jaren Jackson over him.
He's after Jaren Jackson, but if that's
I think slightly.
Jackson's 4.
It's close though. It's close.
And I think it being close there, but he went 14, 15 to bring it back to just Mikael Brown. I think the prospect and the build that he has and the way that he shoots the ball right now. I hope he goes to Brooklyn, but I would take him 5. Because even he could slot next to, if it's only just these 3 guards here, He could slot next to Garland, I guess, if they keep in Garland. Matherin still come off the bench, I guess, played at 3 if Kawhi is leaving. Again, they also, I feel like, are at square one, where we was talking about it before of we don't even know what's going to happen to the team and the punishment. So I think at least kind of the way through, whether they get a quote-unquote death penalty or something, I think you just take the best prospect. And if they got a clean house, it can be his team. But, yeah, out of them three, he doesn't have the pace yet of like Acuff, and I think it's very close. I kind of have them right next to each other, tied up in my mock. But I think it's just, I don't know how to describe it. His shot just look a little more pure.
I think
It looked like it can go through more adversity.
I think Mikael Brown gives the Clippers maybe the best of both of what they could potentially be decided between with these three guards. I think Keaton gives them the best immediate fit next to Garland. Acuff would be probably the best pure point guard, but that also forces you to almost have to make an early decision on Garland, probably before you would want to, especially since you just got him. I think Mikael, he can play next to Garland. If you decide to move on from Garland, he also is able to just slot right into the starting one for the next 10 years. But if Garland and him work out, then you got two dynamic scoring guards who shouldn't have an issue playing together as long as both stay up health-wise. That would be the only issue because they both have health concerns.
Yeah.
But I like Keaton there, but if I had to choose a second, I would go with Mikael just because I don't love the Acuff fit next to Garland, and I don't think you should give up on Garland there that early. So I'm not mad at the Mikael Brown pick at 5.
How do you feel, Brian?
Kind of not trying to pair CT too much. My thought was potentially Wagler just because, like he said, the fit alongside Garland. But it makes sense to me because Michael is a guy that I believe is going to be able to play off the ball. So if you do want to give Garland, want to see how it works with Garland first before making that decision, as CT said, I think it's something that works there. So taking a guard there in general is fine with me. Anybody that we took would have been fine. Only other person I would have thought was probably Wagler at 5.
I want to clarify. When I said fit with Wagler, I really meant positional fit just because he's currently a true 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Wagler, in order for him to be worth that 5th overall pick, is going to need the ball in his hands.
Okay.
So I think Mikael,
He need to beef up just a little bit. He's slight. That's a slight player at that size.
He play that slow game. Yeah, he do need to put a little bit of size on, but not too much because the lanky and the slow move.
That's Austin Reeves getting taken 5th. So,
but he's got he's got a little bit more defensive potential, if you ask me. But, yeah, 6th pick, Brooklyn. I placed my vote for Acuff. Give Brooklyn some juice, give them some sauce, give them something to look forward to going to the games to. Somebody who can be their point guard that they haven't really been able to hone in on. Jaeger was cool, but Jaeger also shows, and he has a positional size to where he can move off ball. And he really doesn't have that on-the-ball juice to create for himself yet. And that is exactly what Acuff has. That backcourt defensively will be a little... But it's okay.
Jaeger got the wingspan. He going to learn.
Yeah, he got the positional size. That's really all that matters. You just really need a 3 that can guard. Who can
just a body.
And Jaeger just going to have to guard the wings, and Acuff is going to have to be a man.
Yeah, just got to show effort.
I like it.
Yeah. Brooklyn needs somebody who can create a shot other than MPJ.
I really like Acuff at 6. I think they can make the play-in. Not even trading MPJ.
Exactly.
Having them 3. And then just Claxton sitting there, Noah Clowney just picking up the rebounds, can hit a 3. I think he shot like 36% from 3 last year, sitting in the corner at 6'11". So you get a 5 out there like that where you have 4 shooters and a rebounder. I think it makes things very interesting. It's hard to beat. Brooklyn was hard to beat last year, even though they was one of the worst teams when MPJ was out there. Jaeger was out there hitting game-winning 3s. So you already add in Darius Acuff as well. I hope he falls to 6. I think that's his best spot really to land at as well. Because I think even for the personality and getting I think he needs a team of his own. I think he could kind of slide in and just have the ball in his hands right away and show what he can do.
While we talking about Brooklyn and Jaeger Denim?
Jaeger Joman.
Thank you. Joman, appreciate it. Have you seen a prospect come in with a certain profile and directly shift away from that?
Man, it's interesting to see. It's really because they was talking about it before the draft last year of the mechanics are there. They were saying the shot looks fluid. It just wasn't falling. And again, when you get some of these international prospects and things, I think sometimes it just takes time to warm up to the school life, what they're doing over there, and getting that shot. Once you kind of get settled in, he probably was just shooting and shooting. And if the mechanics are already there, we've seen with other players, it just takes some time. I was talking to Jalen. I said, it take heart, but I don't really think it take heart. It's just more of, what do you want to focus on? Because as a player, I think the world becomes your oyster when you make it to the league because you can decide to focus on different things and become a defensive specialist and hone your craft. And I think for them to speak so greatly about it, of course, his playmaking potential was always there, but it was always potential even at BYU. He wasn't going around doing wraparound passes. It was still some of those like cross court, but it was just going to be a raw prospect. And that's why a lot of people thought that they reached at 8. But I think the shooting makes the pick look really good. I think the shooting makes the pick look really good because at least at 8, you like Christian was saying, if he can get better at defense with that wingspan, with that size, you have a wing. That's it. You got a wing. So you can just build around a team. And I think even sometimes where teams will say, maybe if a wing kind of didn't live up to expectations, I think even if Jabari Smith didn't live up to expectations for being that pick, they got a wing. And they got a movement guy that can hit a 3, that can play defense. So even if they go and change around the whole like situation of the team, he's locked into a contract. I think that's the same way they feel about Jaeger, where it's like 39% from 3, 6'8", occasional pass every now and then. Like, we'll take it. And we'll see what happens. At 19, yeah, we'll take it. So I think Darius Acuff really lights it up even more because he could learn about that playmaking. Because he's so mature already in slowing the game down, I think he could slow down everyone else's game out there to where Jaeger can benefit so much more from, because he's so good at finding open space. And I think that's why people think he could be such a good playmaker, because he finds those open threes to get to and to find the space. So if Acuff is driving and he finds open space, it would just be a match made in heaven. Yeah, I'm switching my allegiance. I might be a Brooklyn Nets fan starting this year.
Oh.
If they get Acuff, that team too good.
Well, while you're switching that allegiance, I believe you're on the clock, you and Brian, with the 7th pick as the Sacramento Kings. Where do they go from here? Because this team was abysmal.
Yeah.
Anywhere but now.
I think they might just go EPA, Brandon, honestly, because like still Sabonis. I don't know what they're going to do with Levine and DeRozan. So I feel like the best thing to do would probably get you an on-ball guard that you believe in going forward, since you already made the mistake of trading away Halliburton and Fox. So
I agree with you, yeah. If Keaton there, just take him because, like you said, I can't even keep a straight face. They start naming off names on the roster. So, and the only prospect they have, even if you wanted to reach and say, oh, boom or bust, like Ade Mara, you can't do it because Maxime Weiner is looking pretty good. And it's like the only bright spot on your team. You got Neat Clifford. So it's like, outside of that, who's here? I mean, maybe you could take the Axel if they want veteran presence already in year 1, since the team is just so abysmal. Again, I'm interested to see what they do in the offseason. If they're still all in, why even keep this pick at 8? Just deal it off as well. Send somebody else, get Sabonis some help, and try and get you a guard or something. So maybe they put together a little Jalen Brown deal and just send their whole life away.
Oh my God. They just go get Darius Garland.
So,
for real.
You not taking, would you take? Nah, they not doing that. Neat Clifford, Maxime Reynard, number 8 to Boston. They get Kingston Flemings. They get Keaton Wagler at 8. I don't know. Hey, Jalen Brown for Keaton Wagler, Maxime Reynard, and Meet Clifford. I don't think Brad Steven hangs up right away. I don't think he does.
I think he says yes. Eighth pick,
So
Atlanta Hawks. I think my two options are Kingston Flemings and Demarco, and I think it's just based off whether they want to lean away from Big O, and that's his nickname, but he's probably one of the smaller centers in the NBA. And he, for what he is, he's pretty good, but you probably want a little bit more size and ability to guard bigger bigs than Onyeka Okongwu gives you. So they're probably thinking Ademara, or do they realize that Nikhil probably isn't a top playoff point guard, and they probably don't want to have to roll with CJ for the next couple of years? And do they go and try to get Kingston Flemings and give him the keys and not have to do that whole small guard Trae Young thing? Kingston Flemings isn't the largest guard, but he's not, Trae Young small. So that's where I'm at with it, JB. What would be your decision?
Yeah, I agree with you. I had the same two prospects in mind. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to go Kingston, man. I feel like Ademar, great size, a little bit issues with, with quickness and foot movement, things of that nature. He can pass for big. That's good as well. But I think we kind of what we're looking for in the Hawks in the center, we can find in free agency rather than waste the draft pick on Ademar, I believe. Kingston Flemings coming along. We can't just find a young prospect with that much talent. I think we're going to take him at 6'4", not too small, same size as Nickeil Alexander-Walker, actually, or same height at least. Yeah, that's what I would say. That's my pick.
Ninth pick, Dallas.
What you thinking, Brandon?
We probably going to have different picks here, so we can give each other equal time, but I got to say my ministry. At number 9, I think the Dallas Mavericks should take in. I think the best prospect here at this number is Cam Carr. I think they should just go ahead and do it. I think that solidifies the wing, the 2 right next to him. If you keep in Kyrie, they already got Derek Lively. No need to take a Demar. Of course, everybody keep talking about with them, you can build up how do you say? Like Kyrie can teach him. Kyrie can teach a guard. Kyrie can teach a guard. But they already got Brandon Williams. He been teaching him, and he looked pretty good. So I think even you get 3-and-D, 6'6" at number 9. Next to, again, you have a wing. And if he's good enough, then that locks it in for the rookie deals. And you have them too for the rookie deals. And you can build around, and I think trade and find more guards that are going to be on the cusp. Again, if you're trading in that Kyrie deal, or if you're looking to move Lively for your big man, I think they're already set in stone. They just got to get healthy. You got to see how they play when they get healthy. I don't think there's any reason to make that role redundant because Kyrie was averaging 25 on 50, 40, 90 right before he tore his ACL. So, of course, you can go take Phylon, but I'm like, and Yaxel, save that for one of them teams that's trying to win. So, if they want Yaxel, they can take him. Give me Cam Carr. 3-and-D, he shot 40% last year. He can play defense right now, but again, once the body fills in, you give him a summer of movement, you get him out there sweating, he going to compete. That's all you need to do. So, and he got the frame for it. So I think that's a good pick right there. Put him in the play-in next year. They both healthy.
Whole league making play-in.
No, just them.
Except the Kings. A whole league making a play-in except the Kings.
Nah, Kings get Jalen Brown. I say 6 seed.
Oh, okay.
Joey.
Lying.
So for me, I'm also thinking either guard or wing because they're kind of set at the big position right now. I was looking in between Phylon and Burries because I just feel like they work well alongside Kyrie, and I like Phylon in particular because I feel like if you do move off Kyrie, he's a guy that you can put on the ball and be your one. I'm not mad at Carr because Carr's not too far down my big board. But I think I'd probably vote Phylon just because I don't know how long they expect to keep Kyrie there.
And maybe we see a night of. That's her. It's hard to even get in this lottery. I don't know what's about to happen to all these players.
Yeah.
especially with this new lottery system. I think you should get any pick you can. Try and get 2028, 2029 from one of these teams. But you don't like Braden Burries?
I like Braden. I just don't know if I think that he can be a long-term one. That's the only reason why I like LeBaron over him. But
I like
if you
Carr
think
over Braden.
I do too.
But if you plan on moving Kyrie, I like Phylon over Carr. But that's a Mavericks thing. But this is you all. So I think if you all feel like you're moving Kyrie, then I'd go Phylon. Just because I feel like, at least in the next coming drafts and even in the league in general, it's a little bit more common for the lengthy, rangy wings versus the actual lead guards who can play a little bit of defense and actually hit shots these days. And I feel like every team has one that's competing at a high level. So if you move Kyrie, you're going to have to end up finding one at some point. And in this class, LeBaron at 9 is great value versus he could be a top 3 to top 5 pick in next year's class if he would have been technically a sophomore in next year's class versus a sophomore in this year's class. But again, I like Carr as well. If you're keeping Kyrie, I think Carr is a great fit next to Flag, especially long term. And that's the priority. And also, maybe you don't need a guard if you want Flag to get the ball in his hands all the time.
That's what I'm saying. It's the new NBA. 6'6" wing right here. Just rip the Band-Aid off. Get it out the way.
They would hunt Phylon. He's a good defender, but he'll get hunted because he's 180.
Yeah, that's a good point though, because they probably will want to have Coop on ball going forward. So, I'm fine with doing a vote for Cam Carr here. This is the one we're what we would do.
Yeah, keep Kyrie. I feel like they disrespecting because I think all them older guards is like 35, 36 and playing like this. But Kyrie is really only 33. 50, 40, 90. His game was never on athleticism. It was outsmarting his defender. So you get a Cam Carr there. Again, you do like Brunson. You just put him in the corner and you deny the screens. And he still comes out there and he puts out them efficient numbers. So I don't see why they would trade him unless somebody is sending something crazy.
Milwaukee at 10. JB, I don't.
Hey man.
Hey, what are we doing? JB, what are we doing? Are we're trading Giannis? So it's like you got it. It's a lot that goes into this pick. Are we trading him before the draft? Are we trading him? And what is the main piece back? You know, it's a lot of players here in the same realm. I feel like LeBaron's a top prospect, but Ryan Rollins would be our best player. So, and they realistically could play together, but 2'6'4", wiry. I mean, Ryan Rollins got a little beef on his frame, but LeBaron is a wiry guard.
He got 180, right?
He played tough. Ryan Rollins played tough.
I don't know, and I don't really want to. I wouldn't want to put Mara in this type of situation because even though he is a very good passer, I don't think you get the best out of him with a bunch of scrubs around him. No offense to Milwaukee. Brian, can we? Oh, hold on. Let me just look at my draft board.
Honestly, though, I feel like our perfect pick would have been Cameron Carr here for now, and if you're Giannis. So shout out to them for getting that selection. Yeah, you really put a lot together, man. You don't want Yaxel because you know what's coming in the future. It's right between 10 and 11 right here. Braden Burries and the Baron. Yeah. But Brian, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't want to sway anybody's pick, but I've been hearing like Nate Amen a lot in this pick.
Well, John Horst is still there, and now he feels about raw, long-limbed, I don't know, small forwards or whatever. But this is what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to do. What did the board say, man?
I would say a name, but I would be spoiling the name I want to give next.
I'm thinking Mara, or so if I'm choosing between Mara, Phylon, Burries, maybe even Dalen Swain, But then Dalen Swain is too much of a fit.
You're not
Like,
taking Dylan Swain at
but
10. You're
he's
not taking Dylan
too much of
Swain
a
at
fit
10.
for somebody who would actually, have some. You need pieces around that type of player. So maybe maybe you give LeBaron the keys. I really don't know what they would do here.
Yeah.
This is really not optimal. You know what?
Mm.
Let's just wait. Who's at
I think
11?
Burries.
Golden State is at 11.
Oh man,
Let's go Burries.
dang, Burries. Okay, Burries.
Yeah.
It is.
Let's go Burries, bro.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna like anything they pick here. So
Yeah, this might be a prime trade down pick right there.
hey,
I think Breeze is good though at 10.
Hey, 12.
That's a boomer bust pick.
12 for locked in. I think we're good on 12. I think we know we're gonna get it if they don't get them.
who y'all about to take right here?
This is a
11. I would do a Daymar at 11.
Okay,
If a Daymar is there at 11,
Okay.
it's a no-brainer. I think it's good to look at Yaxel.
Damn.
But again, because I think a Daymar could give you the best of both worlds because he is younger than him as well. But he also he can play now. And I think if you're looking for a guy to give those last screens to Curry, allegedly all these old men about to come back and play at their prime peak where they say, just wait. So I think a Daymar gives you that chance to just be that final puzzle, if that is the case. But then also begin to last past them. I usually don't like bigs like this, but now I've noticed they have a 25-minute span in the playoffs. They will play 25 minutes, and they will give you a good 25 minutes. But that's enough, and you hope to have them. Look, you was just over the news about Mitch. You was just talking about Mitch. So Mitch already gone for the finals, and he could get 25 minutes the moment he started throwing up them projectiles at the rim. So I think, again, Daymar has more tools, but they say he faster than Zach Edey. But again, you bring him to the stage, and it's not even anymore about having him guard the player. It's now how much he commands at the rim, bringing him out to the perimeter. You begin to open the swath in the paint, and you talk about him going to the Warriors. Who's going to be back there to defend? Draymond Green now? We running a 5 with Daymar, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, and Curry the only shooter. Pod's in there shooting 36% from 3. So, but I think as well, we only see him one more year. This the last one. The fanfare is done after that, and I think a Daymar is a good pick to go into the future with it. They could do LeBron Phylon, but again, I think Steve Kerr not coming back for that. He knew the pick. He knew if they got deals in the works, etc.
They did that
the reason
already.
he coming back. So
They had LeBaron already, and Draymond punched him in the face. So. And not saying player
and then you even just think in this alternate world of if this place is so good at developing talent and turning people into like superstars, why have we chosen a Brandon Pajemski rather than a Jordan Poole and a Kuminga? Again, these players are not players that are going to be world beaters, but you look at the team today. Kristaps is sick. He's not playing. Kristaps is still not playing. So I don't think nobody said that. I think it was because they've been getting a lot of Gui Santos, Brad Pajemskis, but I feel like what do you gain by looking for them players over and over and over again? I do understand that Moses Moody, but I don't think you can in good conscience say that any of those players were better than a lot of the times that Kuminga played basketball. And he was the one that had the hardest time with them all together. And Jordan Poole in the same way. And I think for them to continue to treat those players in that way versus these janitors coming through and cleaning up the boards, you don't have players to put the ball in the basket. So that's my Warriors rant for the day.
Pause time, bro. You trying.
And this is commendable. I guess that's what they're looking for. They're looking for players to put their best effort in, day out, do what needs to be done, which is commendable. But again, where was they at this point in the year? So And then they making it a whole scandal about if the coach
True.
going to come back. Like this team was in the finals.
Well,
speaking of the finals,
we're picking for NBA Evil right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder. When the Thunder, go ahead.
I was going to ask. Well, no, you go ahead. You was talking. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say because I think they did have an early pick last year as well, and they took Sorber, and that was kind of them taking somebody who they feel like fills a replacement spot because they feel like they're gonna have to lose out on Hartenstein at a certain point. And so when the Thunder have these lottery picks, especially over this whole dynastic period that they could potentially go on, you would, and with the apron, they'll be getting rid of a lot of key role players over the next couple of years and having to replace them. So I like to think of guys in these ranges who could potentially replace the Alex Carusos or the Lou Dorts or, again, the Hartensteins. The perfect guy for me here would have been Braden Burge, but he went to Milwaukee. Another guy I'm currently thinking of, could be wrong, make sure that he's on the board, is Kareem Lopez out of Mexico. And I think you put him in a situation where he could not necessarily be forced to contribute immediately, rely on that developmental system that they've been, working through so far. An actual wing with some length to him versus, the Lou Dorts and the J-Dubs at 6'5", 6'6". Like Kareem's a legit 6'8". And he's not wiry. Like he's 6'8". He's probably, I don't know what his exact measurements were. He's probably at least 210, 215. So he's got a decent amount of size to him and shows the ability to develop top-level defensive skills while also having the ability to be an off-ball shot, not shot creator, but shot maker. So I think this would be a spot that he could go. But JB, what you got?
I was with you up until you said the name of the player. I agree. Honestly, I was looking to add Amar for this spot. Haven't seen enough of Thomas Sorber. And I think depending on how this finals goes with Wemby, having a 7-3 dude on the roster would be great to especially replace Isaiah Hartenstein. I'm looking at this next part of the draft period. I think beginning our Dort replacement. I don't know exactly who Kareem Lopez will be replacing on the roster based on how you described him and what I know of the Oklahoma City Thunder roster. But I look at Yaxel and Morris Johnson Jr. as our Dort replacement. Preferably, I like Morris Johnson Jr. Hustle hard. You're going, you know what I'm saying, fall on the floor, go for the ball, hopefully not play dirty like Dort. Truth, 6'9", like you said earlier, the Thunder have a lot of undersized forwards who still do the job well enough, but it can be good to have someone who can guard, I don't know, a Tatum or another big 6'9" guard.
That's why I went Lopez, because in my eyes, Lopez is not bringing the same level of physicality as Dort, but at least being your perimeter defender while also being able to guard the big wings. Because OKC doesn't have no power forwards. So like Yaxel and Morris would be something different for them, especially if they're not shooting 40% or decent from three. I don't know if Morris plays on this team, just because he does not profile as a consistent shot maker from beyond the arc.
Dort does?
He has his seasons where he shoots 40%. So it's like you got and then playoffs, they're not going to guard him, but he's not.
Right, and that wasn't his profile coming to the league either.
Correct, but he's also not the 6'9", 260 and expecting to be a back-to-the-basket player. That's
Yeah, I'm looking, this tape. I don't know if he's going to be guarding Tatum for real.
Really?
I don't think he'll be guarding Tatum.
Morris Johnson is kind of
stocky. He's big, yeah. He was next to Ade Mara as like with people, because I think he probably even slower than Cam Boozer.
And Yaxel doesn't really profile as a defensive stopper to me either.
That Michigan team, it was nasty.
He does offer the offensive upside that Dort doesn't necessarily provide. So I'm not mad at that option. So I'd go Yaxel or Kareem Lopez.
Well, let me
I just
ask
lean
you.
Kareem just
We have the 17th.
Say it again.
Sorry. I'll say we have the 17th pick, so we can just choose which one you think will be there at 17. I mean, which one you don't think will be there at 17.
Oh, well, the lottery's over.
I think Morris Johnson would be there at 17. I think it's more likely Morris Johnson than Kareem Lopez. Because I think if you get down to these names where it is a Yaxel versus Kareem Lopez, there may be teams, like Christian said with the Thunder, who can potentially take a chance. Where really they just drafting the body. You get 6'8", 7-foot wingspan, 220 movement, can get some shots up and make threes, and already has the profile of one of them players versus a Morris Johnson. I think we're getting to the point of the draft where there's a lot of similar profiles to a Morris Johnson, where just the build that Kareem Lopez can provide. I think it's right now just Kareem Lopez and Dylan Swain if Cameron Carr comes off that board early. Those are the last two left. You're looking at just guards and just bigs, and then it goes back to wings again, but that's where a lot of people dropped out the draft. So he's young. I think he's 19, 20, 6'8". He's international. That's where it's just the Thunder probably will look towards him to just give him that space to kind of build out and grow. Because if he just shooting 38, 40%, like y'all look in the Dort role, who says he can't compete? Nobody go in that Thunder locker room and don't compete on defense. So if he already has the better frame and he moves a little bit slighter, then he may have a better. Because Morris Johnson will be competing with Thomas Sorber. They have the exact same measurements. They both 6'9", 250. I think they'll be in more of a competition with the way they can shoot and not shoot.
You're already. So I think, like you said, Mara would have been ideal for them because you're sacrificing a lot of length by having to potentially move off Hardenstein to the point where a lot of OKC people are saying that they may have to be in a situation where they have to pay Hartenstein and potentially move off somebody else who's in their rotation. So it's like if you move off Hartenstein and you go with Morris Johnson or go with Yax, you're sacrificing a lot of size there, and you're seeing their struggles with certain different lineups, specifically against the Spurs, who they honestly need to be. That's what they need to be drafting for going forward. Is them and the Spurs need to be drafting for the same thing, how to compete against each other. And so I think for the Thunder, probably just bringing in another potential physical wing. Because I don't think, and Brian or whoever can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they would have to get rid of Caruso and Dort this offseason.
No, I think Caruso has one more year.
I think they always draft a year ahead. So like they drafted Sorber last year in preparation of Hartenstein leaving. But I don't know what they're going to do with that because Sorber's ACL that he was not able.
They got a team on Dort. They got a team on they got a team option on Dort. But they also have a team option on Case and Wallace and Kenrich Williams, a $7 million team option on Kenrich Williams. I don't know if they're going to accept that one. I think the way the
apron works, I don't think they're going to be able to bring back all three of Caruso, Hartenstein, and Dort. I think that's how that's going to work out. So I think they need to commit to whichever one or two they want to roll with for the next 2 seasons.
No, Caruso locked in. Caruso is until 2029.
But I'm saying they may have to move because how much is his contract?
Like 20?
It's the same amount as Dort. And I think after these playoffs, you just decline Dort.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
What they saying? He going to average 18. He get a team.
They would have to choose one of the two.
He did say that. Give his own team.
Let him see. Yeah, somebody might go out there and give him Brooklyn, give him the Supermax.
So JB, who you want to go with at 12 here?
Yeah. I mean, I'm cool with Kareem Lopez if you think he won't be there at 17. It just reminds me of Usman Dieng. I don't know if I said that right.
Don't be scared, man.
Jiang or something like that.
But even then, that's what's going to stop you from ascending. Getting scared of them prospects, them still Usman Dieng. Look, you on the Bucks in the last year. You just got to get the body sometimes. You just got to get the frame. And I think if you can get that frame at 12, you're looking good for the Thunder. If it don't work, then
don't work.
They need to figure out Jalen Williams before they figuring out this 12th pick.
I agree. I think it may be time to move on. But I don't want to speak too soon. But
so Chris, let's go ahead and lock in Kareem Lopez.
Okay. And while Brian's doing that, I just want to project like even just watching the Thunder, I'm trying to imagine ways in which Yaxel or Morris play in these playoff lineups. And I don't really know if there's a scenario if
25 minutes.
And so I think Kareem Lopez, yes, the risk is much higher, but I think OKC is a team that can afford the risk because they don't necessarily have to hit on this pick.
They risked the last 2 drafts, and it's looking shitty.
It's
Well,
not. They
Topic-
up 3-2. And
Topich had it.
I'm talking about the future. I'm
And
talking about
they-
the draft selections. Topich got cancer. Sobers got torn ACL.
Topich is 20 years old. AJ Mitchell is 23, and he's locked in for 3 more years. We talking about us
But
looking bad.
I also think
And they got him in the second round.
That's
For
also
their
a
lottery picks,
drafting
though.
strategy, though. They're also they're showing that they're willing to not necessarily take the risk, but draft the player that has the most upside because they realize they don't need them to reach that upside in 1 year, and they're giving them the time and the space to develop.
They would probably rather have them grow so they can sign them to that slave deal.
And
Get
it's
them
not even
locked
like
up
they
3-4
need,
years.
The Caruso and Dort or Caruso or Dort replacement is just going to be Case and Wallace. Instead of playing 30 minutes, you're playing 34. That's really what it's going to be. And you just need somebody.
He was already starting in the finals last year. So.
Right. And so he'll probably end up starting some games this year if they continue to go with McCain because I doubt they're going to start McCain in the next round.
Him.
And McCain is your new 25 minutes. They got him in guards too. Reed Shepard, Jared McCain. They got that 25 lifeline.
And McCain is maybe a guy who may not even play that much in the next round because you don't want to put a guy out there that Brunson can hunt.
Can attack.
But when I said, look, let's not even get into that because they was calling me crazy.
All right, 13th pick.
This one I feel like is either Phylon or Yaxel because I feel like Yaxel fits Pat Riley's mentality in terms of having older guys, given like that he always wants to compete. LeBaron, I feel like, is a guy that they're going to need an on-ball guard at some point that can score and create for others, and I don't think you have that with Tyler Hero. So
Yeah, I think the only thing, like you said, Yaxel fits is the mentality. I don't think he fits as a player on the team at all, especially with the players that they already have. I think Phylon, we should probably go with Phylon because you can get Tyler Hero out of here. You don't have to re-sign Norman Powell, and I think him and Casper together is a very interesting backcourt. Casper already has the size. You can see if he can begin to defend. But the way their front court is set up, they may not need to defend as aggressively as they do in that backcourt because they can fall back on Khalil Ware, who can now hit threes as well, and Bam, who's also one of their big men. So I think if Phylon is here at 13, you might as well because everyone else, as we're seeing on the board, is big men that can't shoot. So if you can get you a guard that can shoot, that has the potential to be in that, this is where Tyler Hero, this is where Devin Booker, this is where a lot of those players are taken often right near the end of the lottery that can kind of fill up the basket. So I think you just take the chance here. You see what happens. Because what they're going to do, Ben and Sturts, I think they're trolling with Yaxel. They're trolling with Ben and Sturts. They're trolling, talking about this mentality. You could talk about mentality when you was winning games. Another year, another plan. What's the mentality? It's not working. They're not winning. So
they said that mentality did not send out to pasture. They said Pat Riley not in charge no more. So we're gonna see who's really making the decisions. But I think Phylon's probably the best pick there. Just because you draft Yaks, it's like what are we doing in that front court now? Because it's like Khalil Ware a real chance because you still got Bam, but I think they would actually play pretty decently together.
yeah,
So I think Phylon is a guy you could add there. You just may, Yakashonis, I like him as a player. I just don't think that he's stopping you from drafting a dynamic scoring guard because that's really what, Miami's been missing out on high upside scoring. They've always been a very good defensive team. They throw out the zone defense, man-to-man, whatever it is. But they really do need somebody out there consistently to get a bucket, and Norman Powell did that, but Norman Powell is
33.
Yeah.
And they still got Davion Mitchell. I think that's a good backcourt to have Davion Mitchell, Casper, and Phylon all there together. I think it just you can let that sit for another year or two and say what do we have back here and figure out if this Bam and Khalil working
pair is going to work together. So
All right,
there
so
you go.
14th pick, our final pick of the lottery, the Charlotte Hornets. I feel like the Charlotte Hornets are a team that feels like they have their 5 starters. But if you had to look at any of those 5 starters, the weakest out of the bunch is likely their starting center. So, my opinion, I'd go get JQ, Jaden Quaintance. I feel like Yaxel and Morris, they're cool. They could be decent role players on this squad. I feel like Morris probably fits a little bit better. Just the type of style they'd like to play, and he could give you that positional flexibility where he can also run that 5. But I think Jaden Quaintance is one of the more higher upside players in this class, especially on the defensive side of the ball, which is where Charlotte will truly benefit from because he does not need the ball on offense. They have a lot of, I'm not going to say chefs in the kitchen, but a lot of guys who want the ball on offense, and JQ would just be a play finisher on that end while also hold down the fort on defense and still give you the ability, throw out Musa for 20 minutes if you really want to play him that bad. But JQ could end up being their center of the future. And I don't really see another center on the board or anybody in free agency that would make them want to upgrade from Musa aside from Jaden.
This is tough. My first thought was JQ as well. I do believe in Musa Diabate. I think it'd be a good thought to stay Michigan. Musa went to Michigan. It's time for Miles Bridges replacement at some point. He's been playing well, 20 ball a game for seasons from now on. But with a youth movement, I think it'd be good to have some good winning culture there. If you see what I'm saying. We can go Morris Johnson or Yaxel. That's what I like. But JQ works for me as well. If that's the direction you want to go. I just want to at least say my piece and say, hey, we got to get that 4 spot right for the future because Miles Bridges got to go at some point.
I'm not the biggest fan as a person. So I'm realizing that if this was us, I'd try to move off Miles Bridges. So I appreciate you saying that. So let's go with whatever you want to do.
I would have them move off this pick in general.
Oh, dang. Okay.
I would have them move just 1 spot back and let the Bulls take him.
Make the decision for him.
And I think maybe they can Jalen Smith and 14. Jalen Smith and 15 for 14. And they take Quaintance and they get a center. And then, because I don't think, yes, they need a big, but they need a ready now big. That's what the Hornets need. And I think it may just be a competition in between Diabate and Quaintance, especially early. I don't think he's going to show true that he is the one over Diabate because Diabate already knows how to flow within this high-paced flowing team. I think if you could add in more of a stretch big like a Jalen Smith where he just found his niche in the league. He hit a 3 every once in a while. He can block a shot. He can get a rebound. And then you add that next to Musa, and then you can have a little bit more options. Or if they do want a Yaxel, they want to move off of Miles Bridges, they can package that pick for something and move off of it. But, yeah, I think to have Quaintance, it could potentially be redundant because they have that same, a little bit of a profile where it's just run and gun of that center position. And if that is the backcourt they're running with, if those are the wings they're running with Khan, they may need just a more traditional big really to set screens and slow the game down. So I think they used to have in mocks maybe 2-3 months ago a Demar right here at 14. I think he was right here at 14 going to the Hornets in a lot of mocks. And I think as people started to drop out, as they started to look at how important the bigs were, he came up and up. But this was his original spot. I think that would have been perfect. But the way the board has changed, it's not looking like that no more.
Well, JB, which Michigan, man?
Man, that was tough. Yeah, I was trying to think of trades. We just packaged this amount of Bridges for somebody, but let's just go. Let's stay Michigan. We're gonna go Yaxel.
All right.
So Yaxel is the pick.
Yaxel.
That's a poison. That's a poison pill. Who's taking Bridges? I don't think nobody in the league is taking him.
Yaxel.
How much is he making?
Outside Detroit.
Lottery for us, and so let's review the
Detroit taking him.
Oh
man.
Hey, they might. They honestly, Detroit, never mind. So with the first pick, we had Darren Peterson out of Kansas. AJ DeBonsa went 2 to the Jazz. Caleb Wilson goes 3 to the Grizzlies. Cameron Boozer goes 4 to the Bulls. Michael Brown goes 5 to the Clippers. Darius Acuff goes 6 to the Nets. Keaton Wagler finds his home with the Kings. Kingston Fleming goes to Atlanta. Cameron Carr with the Mavericks. Braden Burries with the Bucks. Ademar to the Warriors. Kareem Lopez to the Oklahoma City Thunder. LeBaron Philon to the Miami Heat. And Yaxel Lindenborg to the Hornets. So, everybody screenshot this, just in case we're right. But we'll be back with some more content, some positional breakdowns, maybe some head-to-head discussions is something I may be interested in bringing up, how people feel about certain prospects, even if they're different positions. And so we've gone through all 14 picks in the lottery. Anything could change. We could have a trade as early as next week. You never know. But this was just our first draft. We got more content coming for you all. Be sure to stay tuned for the next play.